So today we're going to be talking about maximization, acquisition, and everything that has to do with Facebook ads around those two topics. And I think it's really, really timely to talk about those things, because what is happening right now is that, as I've been saying over the past couple calls, is that the cost to advertise at my digital marketing agency, we serve mostly coaches, consultants, and information publishing companies, and people that sell high ticket stuff, right? High ticket coaching programs and high ticket, consulting and whatnot. And we've always been running, or we've been running for a while now. We've been running the proverbial what's called a video sales letter funnel. Probably Dan has told you guys about it, which is just sending traffic to an opt-in page, and then people will opt in, and they will watch a short presentation, anywhere between 20 to 40 minutes. And then they will, after watching the presentation, they can apply. They will submit their information, submit an application, and then they can schedule a call, and then they get a thank you page, right? So that's the funnel. That's the strategy. It's been working well. And, the sales team on our clients will pick up all of those leads, even people that don't show up to the meetings or people that don't complete the entire application. We'll pick them up and we'll try to sell them, to the high ticket coaching program, right? And I want to say that up until probably November, October last year, that has been our main go-to market strategy whenever we had a new client coming in and they were selling something that was expensive, like a high ticket coaching program and whatnot. But the reality is that we're noticing a steadily increase in acquired customers, right? A steadily increase in acquiring customers on Meta, right? On Facebook. And this also applies to other networks as well. Like, the increasing cost to acquire customers is across the board, right? Especially this year. This year's an election year. I know that, we had a little bit of a conversation on the community about, hey, what's going on with my ads not getting approved and my costs are going up. Well, have in mind that this is an election year, right? So generally speaking, when it comes to policy and everything, Facebook is a little bit more active. The Meta police is a little bit more active on that end. But the main point is that the cost to acquire customers have been steadily going up. So, for example, we went at the beginning of last year, maybe even earlier than that. We used to pay $120, $150 depending on the niche, and now we're getting close to $250, $300 per booked appointment. So that means that the cost to acquire customers almost double. So one of the things that we started doing, and one of the things that we started implementing back, I would say, because this is something that I learned back when I was working as Frank Kern's CMO. I learned about the power of acquisition funnels. And then, I went ahead and I worked with Grant Cardone as well. And we had several acquisition funnels. And this was probably like before the pandemic. So this was like 4 or 5 years ago. And something that we noticed is that, there's like this renaissance of these low ticket acquisition funnels. And the reason behind them, and the reason why they make so much sense, is we're going to dive into the math and how to make them work and all of that. And I'm going to tell you, kind of the benchmarks of what we like to do when it comes to acquisition funnels and everything. But the reality is that there's a renaissance of those funnels, because they really help us acquire customers that will later sell them something more expensive at a break even or better position. That's the whole goal of an acquisition funnel, is to break even or better. Okay. So based on the fact that the cost to acquire customers, or the cost to acquire booked appointments, is going up on Meta, we had to kind of put something up front that allows us to liquidate some of the ad costs, if not all of the ad costs, and in some cases make some money, right? Mitigate that, liquidate that, and most importantly, it's a good entry level for us to start selling our high ticket, or for our clients to start selling our high ticket, okay? There's a lot of people out there that have the misconception that just because you're getting low ticket buyers, you won't be able to get high ticket buyers, and that's simply not true. The reality is that many, if not all of the big players that I know of, including Dan, they sell something cheaper on the front end. It could be a book, it could be a workshop, it could be, you know, a paid webinar, a paid challenge or something like that, with the intention of selling those people somebody else, right? Like we've been doing it for a long time. Agora has been doing it for a long time. So, you know, if you sell something that's expensive, quote unquote, and then you want to go after this route, then don't be fooled by the fact that somebody will be purchasing a $7 product from you or a $37 course or something like that. And those people are just low ticket buyers and you won't be able to get high ticket. The reason why we're deploying these type of funnels is because these type of funnels then allow us to divert people to many other instances, which I'm going to be talking about. Okay. So let me share my screen for a second, and let me share my screen here for 1 second. I should be able to. Yes. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Okay. So this is a funnel, right? So this is how, let me zoom in a little bit more. Okay. So this is how most high-level entrepreneurs operate when it comes to advertising. Okay. Now, do you need these two funnels, or do you need these two strategies to make your ads work? No. But at scale, when you grow in your business, you want to have these things in mind. Okay. And this is, again, I've been blessed enough to have worked with some of the biggest names in the digital marketing industry. People are super, super smart. And this is how they operate. Okay, this is how they operate. I remember, for example, when I was working with Grant Cardone and helping him build his advertising agency, he would have 3 or 4 acquisition funnels, right? One per book, right? So he would have like 3 or 4 or 5, even 5 books. Like he would have the 10X rule. He would have a couple of sales-related books. He would have like several books out there, right? And the goal of those books were to acquire customers at a break even or better. That's where the goal of those book funnels. We're gonna kind of break down how an acquisition funnel should look like and how a monetization funnel or maximization funnel should look like, right? But, you know, he did it. Then I went to advise Dean Graziosi as well with the launch of mastermind.com, as he was doing it, right? Russell Brunson was doing it. Even Dan is doing it right now to, you know, to get people into Get Clients University. So the bottom line is that acquisition funnels work, and they do take work. That's why a lot of people, they don't want to make them, they don't want to do them, but they do work, especially from paid advertising, right? So my goal today is to kind of walk you guys through of what you need to have in mind in order for you to start this journey. Again, you don't need to. If you're gonna pick, if you're just starting out, and if you're gonna pick your battles, which you should, it's always better to start with high ticket. It's always better to start with high ticket, with a high ticket offer, with a phantom offer, with those type of things. It's always better to go that route, because an acquisition funnel is something that takes time to build. It will require more than one product or course or resource, right? I'll tell you my ideal kind of structure for an acquisition funnel in a second, but it will require more than one product, more than one course. It takes time to dial in, right? So if I was starting from scratch and I was like starting, you know, from complete scratch on any industry, I would start with high ticket, because you only need to sell high ticket to a handful of people. However, as you start scaling your ads, which I know that many in the community are scaling your ads, this is something that I want you guys to have in the back of your head, because this is another way for you to liquidate your ad cost. That's why an acquisition funnel is set to scale and volume, right? This is where most of your buyers are going to come from. And this is also one of the reasons why I don't personally like to run ads to a lead magnet, for example, right? I would run ads to an offer. I know that a lot of people have good success with lead magnets. And the goal of an acquisition funnel is, as the number says, is to acquire customers, is to get buyers, is to get people that give you money. But that's like, if you only have an acquisition funnel, that's 50% of the game right there. You're leaving money on the table, because then what happens is that you want to send people to this monetization funnel or maximization funnel, which in other words is these VSL funnels that we are building for our clients that we were running call ads to. We're still running call ads to those monetization funnels or maximization funnels where the high ticket purchase happens, but those funnels are also backend. So that means that for everyone that comes in through the front end, this acquisition funnel, we send them into our monetization funnels. And that's where you make your money, okay? If you have a low ticket offer, it's really, really hard for you to make money with a low ticket offer from paid advertising. It's really hard to make real money. Your real money will be done by your high ticket offers. I'm also going to talk to you about how to grow, for example, a continuity program using acquisition funnels and all of that good stuff, okay? So with that being said, let's jump into the Lucidchart, which is one of my favorite tools. And let's talk about acquisition funnels, okay? So here's how I like to build and run acquisition funnels for ourselves, for me, for the people that I'm partnering with, for the clients at the agency and whatnot. So we're going to be sending ads. We're going to have some ads and some traffic that go to a low ticket front-end offer, okay? Low ticket front-end offer. And by the way, if anything comes up, if you have any questions and whatnot, just put them in the Q&A section and we will address them, you know, later on the call, okay? So we're gonna run ads to a low ticket front-end offer. Depending on your niche, depending who you're targeting, it's the ideal price point of this low ticket front-end offer. Now, what works well as a low ticket front-end offer? Mini courses, workshops, these type of calls work well. Like if you're doing any type of calls for your audience, they work really well as low ticket offers. Cheat sheets, spreadsheets, list of resources, books or mini books. Mini books are actually amazing as low ticket front-end offers. They don't take that much time to build as well. So low ticket offers, depending on what you're selling and depending on your niche, can go for all the way from $4 all the way up to $97, okay? If you're selling something that is a little bit more high ticket, or sorry, if you're selling something that is a little bit more B2B, right, to other businesses, to other professionals, to other entrepreneurs, you can go higher. You can go in the $57, $67, even $97 range, right? I actually have a Facebook course that we sell on the front end for $97 and it's working really well. Now, if you're selling something to a B2B space like stay-at-home moms or other consumers and whatnot, or if you have, I don't know, like a how to grow better tomatoes type of offer or something like that, then your front end will be generally lower, okay? Now, for books, what we found is that there's no tangible difference between selling an ebook versus selling a physical book, other than the fact that you want to ship that physical book to people, okay? So probably you've seen that with Traffic Secrets, or again, the books that I mentioned before. Those are books that, you know, they're free, but you pay for shipping, okay? You pay for shipping and handling. On those cases, you can charge up to, I think, $7 or $9 for shipping and handling, no more than that. If you're selling the ebook, it can go as low for $4. It can go as high for $10, okay, an ebook. So as you can see, there's a wider range of offers and price points. My suggestion to you is to test, okay? Test the offer and also test the price point as you start running ads, okay? So let's say for the sake of this exercise, we're gonna put it at $47, which is a fine middle, all right? So low ticket front-end offer is gonna be $47. Now, here's what I also like to do on this page is to have 2 to 3 order bumps, okay? Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the call, acquisition funnels or acquisition campaigns, they do require a certain amount of products and courses to be put together, okay? But the good news is that there's a lot of things, there's a lot of flexibility with the offers on this funnel, okay? The main point, I would say 80% of the battle on these front-end acquisition funnels is the front-end offer, okay? The front-end offer needs to be good. That's why I like to add a lot of bonuses. I like to add a lot of things to this offer because you want the offer to be as good as possible. You want the offer to feel really, really juicy, okay? So over-deliver with your front-end offer because that's gonna be the code, and that's gonna be the code to crack all of the rest of the funnel, okay? So the order bumps, again, depending on your niche, I like to have them between $27 and $47. 2 to 3 order bumps. The goal of these order bumps is to increase the main metric that we're going to pay attention to, which is our average order value, okay? Average order value. That's going to be the main metric that we're going to pay attention to in this whole process, okay? So I talked about North Star metrics in the past. This is our North Star metric for this funnel, okay, or average order value. And then I'm going to add another metric. But the goal of these order bumps is to increase that average order value. Again, 27 to 37 bucks, sometimes 47 bucks, and 2 to 3 to increase that average order value. Now, from here on out, we're going to go into our first upsell, okay? So our first upsell, generally speaking, if I sell a mini course here, or if I sell an ebook here, or if I sell a mini book here, my first upsell is going to generally be an in-depth approach or an in-depth course of that front-end thing that I gave. Okay, so for example, if I have an ebook that is how to grow bigger tomatoes, my first upsell is going to be an in-depth course on how to grow bigger tomatoes. Okay, now my first upsell is generally going to be an in-depth course, and the price point here, the price points that I personally like, is $197 to $297. Okay, generally speaking, I like $297 a little bit more, okay, than $197, but in any case, you can test this out. All right. This first upsell has two objectives. The main objective is, of course, increase this average order value or average cart value, right? That's the first goal. The second goal is to kind of separate the people that have the highest chance of buying your high ticket versus people that don't have that chance of buying your high ticket. What do I mean? I mean that if somebody buys my front-end offer and that's it, versus somebody that buys my first offer and 2 order bumps and my upsell, that person that bought the whole thing, it's going to have a higher chance to buy my high ticket program on the back end. Okay, so in one way we're increasing our average order value, and in another way we're kind of separating those people that are more prone to say yes to what's going to come, because remember that this funnel, it's an excuse for you to sell your high ticket. Okay, so my first upsell generally $197 to $297. I like to have a more expensive upsell first. I'm going to tell you why in a minute. And then a downsell could be a payment plan. Okay, so it could be 3 payments or 4 payments or something like that. Okay, so you say, hey, okay, don't take the course, you didn't like it or whatever, just split the payment, you can still get the course. Okay, now this is my first upsell, and then I like to have a second upsell right here. Okay, I'm going to put it right here. Second upsell. Now, my second upsell, I have 2 options, and I've been going with one of these options more and more lately. Okay, the second upsell is there also to increase average cart value. It's also there to give me more people that are prone to get my high ticket offer on the back end. Okay, but generally speaking, my second upsell can be 2 things. Number one, it can be a complementary course. Okay, a course that will complement the first things that I've been selling. So if I sell an ebook on how to grow better tomatoes, the second upsell is going to be an in-depth course on how to grow better tomatoes, and then the second upsell is going to be an in-depth course on how to grow some other vegetables, or how to have better soil, right? Or how to store these tomatoes so that they last for a long time, or how to make money with my tomato gardening, right? So generally speaking, this is going to be a complementary course, and on that case, if you have a $297 first upsell, the second upsell should be cheaper than the first upsell, so that you increase the chances of people taking it. And my favorite this time, my favorite these days, I should say, is a continuity program. Is something like Get Clients University. It's a continuity program or a community, a paid community, and this is where I like to sell my paid community as a second upsell. So in this case, let's go for that option. Okay, so let's say I'm gonna sell a $97 a month community. Okay, and this is where I would like to sell it. Okay, so my second upsell is going to be a $97 a month community. On this case, it doesn't have to be a community. If you don't have a community, that's fine. But what's going to happen is that this amount of people are buying this front-end offer. Now I'm going to tell you the metrics that we're looking for. This amount of people are taking this front-end offer. are actually going to take you up on this second upsell. So recurring money is always nice, okay? And then my downsell to this is going to be, if I select my $97 a month option, my downsell to this is generally a $1 trial, generally speaking. My downsell to this is a $1 trial. It could be a 30-day trial or a 2-week trial. I prefer two-week trials for $1. But I don't really like free trials. I know that Dan is doing a lot of good things with free trials, and that's great. But I prefer $1 trials versus free trials, because even if people take those $1 trial less, they are going to stick for longer in my community, okay? And then we're gonna have a thank you page with a call to action to schedule a call, okay? We're gonna have a thank you page with a call to action to schedule a call. So I told you that we're doing all of this. So as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different things happening here, okay? So I told you that my first and number one metric that I need to pay attention to is my average order value. The second metric that I need to pay attention to, I'm gonna put it here, is my cost per acquisition, okay? In other words, my CPA. So these two metrics are always going to be telling me if I can scale this funnel or not. So my average order value needs to be higher than my cost per acquisition. When I'm running ads, if I'm running conversion-based ads to a front-end low-ticket offer, what's going to happen is that I'm going to have a cost per acquisition, right? Like right now, for example, I'm partnering up with an English school, and they don't have a high-ticket offer. We're working on that, but their main goal is to fill this up, right? So I have, as a second upsell, I have the continuity program. We launched the ads probably like 3 days ago, and their cost per acquisition is under their average order value. Average order value on that funnel is around $47 or $49. The cost to acquire customer is around 27, okay, so far. So that means that I can scale. So the gap that I have between my average order value and my cost to acquire customer is going to tell me how much money am I making from these ads, and also it's telling me how much I can scale. We talk about understanding the funnel of your math, the math of your funnel. We talk about understanding the math of your funnel. I think it was last call. So if you miss it, go watch it. It was pretty cool. We talk about that. We talk about understanding the math of your funnel. Well, once you understand the math of your funnel, then you can say, okay, I want to break even. Again, this is an acquisition funnel. The goal of this acquisition funnel is not to make you money, but rather to help you acquire customers, right? At a break even or better position. So, so the gap between my average order value and my cost per acquisition is going to tell me how much I can scale my ads. If my cost per acquisition at the beginning is higher than my average order value, then I need to work on my funnel. Okay. Now let's talk about metrics for these type of funnels. Okay. Let's talk about what I like to see. Some other people have different books, if you would, or little books or playbooks to actually make this happen. But this is what I like to see in the funnels that I put together and in the funnels that we run. All right. So now something that I didn't mention here is that on these low ticket front end offer, generally speaking, is a sales page with an order form in it. And that's a 2-step order form. Because what's going to happen is that when you put name, email, phone number, and then you move to the next step of this two-step order form, then you become a lead. I capture your details and I can market you. I can market to you later on down the road. That's why this funnel also works as a lead magnet, if you would, or as a lead gen type of strategy. Why? Because you have this 2-step order form right here, okay? So you have this 2-step order form right here that allows you to actually capture your traffic, and then you're gonna send them some emails. You can actually get some emails coming up. In fact, funny enough, if you run ads to a lead magnet, and this is a test that I run for a project that I was part of, we run ads to a lead magnet and we run ads to an acquisition funnel. the cost of a lead was exactly the same. So if we were paying $5 per lead here, we were also paying $5 per lead here on this acquisition funnel, with the difference that we were also getting paid here, and here we weren't getting paid. We were only getting leads. Here we're getting paid and we were liquidating the ad cost. It was interesting, okay? So that's one of the reasons why I say that I don't like to run ads to lead magnets, but again, you know, that's personal preference. So let's talk about metrics, okay? Let's talk about the metrics that you wanna pay attention to when it comes to setting up this funnel and what you wanna do. So I like, let me see how I can put this so that it's good. I like here to have anywhere between a 5 to 10% conversion rate, okay? Now, the conversion rate will be from people hitting that page. So from unique hits to conversion rate, you want to be between 5 to 10%, okay? So if you have 100 unique clicks or 100 unique visitors to this front-end low-ticket offer, you wanna have anywhere between 5 to 10 buyers of this front-end offer, okay? So this is kind of an ideal proportion, but again, if your average order value is higher than your cost per acquisition and this is lower, doesn't matter, okay? This is the most important metric, average order value versus cost per acquisition. Everything else that I'm gonna tell you is an optimization metric, okay? So 5 to 10% conversion rate. Now, out of the buyers, I like that at least 30% of the front-end buyers will take 2 or 3 order bumps, okay? So I'm gonna put 30% conversion rate right here, okay? So 5 to 10% conversion rate out of unique visitors. Then I want 30% conversion rate of order bump buyers, right? Of front-end buyers to buy my order bump. So if I have 10 buyers of my front-end low ticket, at least three will buy my order bumps, okay? Now here, from here on onwards, it's always 10%, okay? So 10% conversion rate on my first upsell from buyers, right? So that means that if I got, again, 10 buyers of my low ticket offer, I want at least one upsell. I want at least one payment plan, okay? I want at least one payment plan. I want at least one person taking the second upsell, and I want at least one person taking me up on the trial, okay? So as you can see, 5 to 10% conversion rate on the front end, 30% conversion rate on the order bumps, 10% conversion rate across the board. Now, this is the acquisition funnel. Again, most important metric is my average order value versus my cost per acquisition. If my average order value is lower at the beginning when I launch this, is lower than my cost per acquisition, then I need to work on my funnel or on my ads, right? It could also be the ads. How do you know if it's the ads, if it's the funnel? Really simple. If your ads have over 1% unique outbound CTR, it's not the ads, okay? So this is what you should be aiming to. 1% unique outbound CTR. If your ads have unique outbound CTR of 1% or more, you stop taking a look at the ads, you start working on your funnel, okay? This is at the launch level. And as you scale, you want to make these conversions better, all right? So proverbial acquisition funnel that anyone can put together, and with any type of funnel building tool that you have. It could be Go High Level or Deal Engine. It could be, you know, ClickFunnels, whatever you have, okay? Now, let's talk about maximization funnel, and let's talk about what do we do from here, okay? So there's a couple of things that we do to actually maximize the value of each buyer. So out of here, we have an opt-in, okay? And then we have a VSL page with application. And then we have a, remember that I told you this was our proverbial book a call funnel, calendar page, right? For people to book an appointment. And then we have a thank you page, right? Pretty simple. This is way simpler than this, right? As you can see, we have several steps here. Here we only have like 3-4 steps, and that's it. That's why I tell you that it's easier for you guys to start with high ticket rather than an acquisition funnel. You put in an acquisition funnel once your high ticket funnel is working, right? That's when you bring in an acquisition funnel. So what's going to happen here is that I want at least 10% of people, 10% of front-end buyers, okay? I'm gonna put it here. 10% of front-end buyers to schedule a call, okay? And if 10% of front-end buyers schedule a call, again, you will be talking to buyers. This depends on how effective you are on the phone. But 10% of front-end buyers should schedule a call. That means that if you close 30% of these people, then 3% of your buyers, of your front-end buyers, will become high-ticket buyers on the back end, okay? So again, 10% of front-end buyers will schedule a call. Most people won't schedule a call right here. So what do? We follow up, okay? And we invite them to watch the VSL. Here, it's an email plus SMS follow-up. Now, the good news and what I like about this funnel right here, this maximization funnel or monetization funnel, is that you can also run ads to this. You will run ads to an opt-in page, right? It's the same application or the same VSL, same everything that you would run for cold traffic. So once you build this becomes a front-end back-end funnel. So it's front-end for your cold traffic that you will be running ads to this opt-in page, but it's also back-end because now everyone that buys from you is going to get the opportunity to book an appointment with you, but it's also going to get followed up via email and SMS so that they can book an appointment with you. Something else that we like to do, and this is a little bit more advanced, is that we also call upsell, upsell 1 and upsell 2 buyers, okay? We call them, all right? We actually pick up the phone and call them. We have setters that do this. And the reason, remember that I told you that the upsells are there to kind of separate the people that have the most opportunity to buy from you, right? Versus, or to buy your high ticket versus every buyer, right? Every buyer goes into your email and follow-up sequence. Every abandoned cart, so every lead, they also go into your email and follow-up sequence. But the people that get a phone call, generally speaking, are going to be the ones in order of priority, are going to be the ones that buy the upsell number 2, then everyone that buys the upsell number 1, then everyone that buys, okay? So if you have the ability, if you have somebody in your team that can do this, again, this is a little bit more advanced, but if you have somebody in your team that can pick up the phone and call people, you want to call in that order of priority. First, upsell takers, people that take upsell number 2. Second, people that take upsell number 1, and then everyone, okay? So, but we do call buyers, okay? Why do we call them? How do we call them? What do we say? Really simple. We just frame this call as a customer success call, right? It's like, hey, did you get everything right? Did you get what you were looking for? Is everything okay? You know, I'm just calling to make sure that you got access to everything. Of course, they just purchased, so they're not going to be able to consume everything. But generally speaking, we tell them, oh, we have more resources. Is it okay if we ask you some questions? And then we pre-qualify them. Just as this application page will pre-qualify them, right? We pre-qualify them on the phone. And then if they are qualified and if they want to talk to an expert, we book them on a call with a closer, okay? So in a nutshell, again, acquisition funnel, monetization funnel or maximization funnel, this is where you make your money. This is where you acquire your customers. On this case, then we'll have a second metric or a second important metric, which is our total ROI. And the total ROI of the campaign will include front-end and back-end sales. Your total ROI of the campaign will include front-end and back-end sales. Again, the main point of this acquisition funnel, is for you to acquire customers. You might make a little bit of money. Maybe you will have a 1.5 return on your ad spend, right? So you spend $1,000, you make 1,500. That's sweet, right? My recommendation is that you grab those $1,500 and you pour it back into acquiring new customers. Okay, so that's how we like to do it. Every cent that comes from this acquisition funnel goes back into feeding this acquisition machine. And then we make money on the back end. We make money on the renewals. We make money here. You know, we make money on the renewals of this continuity program. We make money on the back end high ticket sales. That's where we make our money, not necessarily on our front end. All right. So I hope that is helpful. This is how we like to run ads this day and age. This is how we were able to kind of remediate the rising in costs to advertise. And this is how we're able to actually get really, really good people on the phone, because guess what? If somebody that does not know you, I have people coming in and right off the bat, they spend $500, $750 with us without even knowing us, right? They went through the whole funnel, they bought the whole thing. What do you know? They get a phone call and they're really, really qualified leads for the next thing that we have to offer, okay? So this is how we're doing it. And this is how we're able to scale our advertising campaigns right now, this day and age, especially as the cost to acquire customers are going up, okay? And this is basically how most of the big players have been doing it for a long time. It's the whole game of acquiring customers for less than the average order value and the lifetime value. The average order value on these, just to be clear, the average order value is only on this funnel, okay? The average order value, what I pay attention to scale my ads, is not my average lifetime value, because my average lifetime value, if I include my high ticket, is gonna be huge, right? And that makes sense when I'm scaling. But when I'm starting my ads up to, let's say, $10,000, $20,000 a month, or even $30,000 a month in ad spend, up to that point, what I care is my average order value versus my cost to acquire customers on the point of transactions, which is, it starts here and it ends here. Okay, this is what I pay attention to. Now, as you go past that, as you go into the 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, a million a month, you will need to factor in your back-end sales, because what's going to happen, as I told you before, is that the more you scale these ads, the more your cost per acquisition will go up, and at some point you will tip over your average order value, so you will start going in the hole a little bit on the front end, which you will recoup with your back-end, okay? But that's more like a business decision, and that's where you scale into massive numbers. That's how you scale to massive numbers. But if you want to have a really good, lean and front-end acquisition funnel versus back-end acquisition funnel, you know, 20, 30, even $50,000 a month, you can get away with this correlation right here at the point of transaction. As you go past that, you need to factor in your back-end offers so that your average lifetime value will go up. And then you can say, okay, well, it's not just $50 versus $50, right? It's $150 versus $50. So I can spend 75 on the front end, even if I'm losing $25 on the front end to get a buyer, okay? So anyways, that's when you're scaling. Initially, this will help you have visibility on what's going on, and this will help you understand what should be the ratios and the conversion rates that you should be expecting to have across your acquisition funnel, okay, and your monetization funnel. So with that being said, let's jump into the questions, and we will go from there, shall we?
Yeah, and as you're doing that, I wanted to ask
Yes.
you a question that you brought up at the beginning. I have a feeling people are thinking this. If they haven't dropped it in the Q&A, they probably will. At what point do you know you're ready enough about your offer, enough about your audience to create an acquisition funnel? Because the thing that jumps out to me as somebody who spends all of my time, 90% of my time on offer creation, is that you have to know about your people and the problem to create these. every one of these is like its own little offer, right? It's all its own
Hmm.
little offer as part of a bigger offer. And so when somebody comes to
Yes.
you and they say, okay, Hernan, this is what I want to do. But
Hmm.
I don't know, I've been at it for maybe less than a year and this is my very first offer. What are your thoughts and what are the benchmarks do you think people should meet before they take this path?
Yeah, no, that's a great question actually, and I love that question because you can build this whole thing and then realize that your offer sucks, and then nobody will buy it, right? So if I were starting there, what you just mentioned, Carla, which by the way, thank you for that question. If I were starting there, I would dedicate 80 to 90% of my time here, right here, in this front end low ticket offer. This is where I would dedicate 80 to 90% of my time, making sure that my front end low ticket offer is good. Here's why. The goal of this funnel is to work with cold traffic. But at the beginning, you want to use your audience to validate these ideas, right? So the way I like to do it, that's why, you want to build a network, you want to build an audience, you want to put up content, you want to do all of those things. Because the way I like to validate these things and to validate these ideas is by simply asking my network, hey, if I put together something like this, would you guys buy it, right? And for people that say yes, and by the way, I post this on Facebook, I post this on Instagram, I send an email to a couple of emails to my list, right? And all I do, what I like to do is to put together a Google Docs, like literally a Google Docs, explaining a couple of things, saying, here's what I have, here's what it will do for you, here's why you want to have it, here's how to get it, okay? I just explained those 4 things. Here's what I have, here's what it will do for you, here's why you want to have it, here's how to get it, in a Google Doc with a Stripe link or a PayPal link, right? And then if I get enough buyers, if I get, let's say 20, 30 buyers, depending on how big your network is, right? Sometimes you might get hundreds of buyers. And you want to frame this as a pre-launch, right? You're like, hey, we're doing this as a pre-launch. This is going to be a beta group and whatnot. And if people give you money for your idea, then you are on track to having a good offer. Now, the good news is that now what you do is you grab all of the people that tell you, oh yeah, this is a great idea, this is a good offer, this is what I need. And then you just record the whole thing and you build the whole thing with them, right? Live on Zoom calls like this, and then you can create your front end offer like that. That's what I did. So for example, let me put you an example. Last year I was involved in a project. Last year I was involved in a project. Second half of last year, I was involved in a project that was about AI teaching for marketers, right? And we had all of these ideas, right? Like how you use AI to build emails, and how you use AI to build ads, and how you use AI to build landing pages and funnels, right? And how you use AI to come up with marketing maps, right? So we had all of these ideas for front-end funnels because we knew that this was the way to go. And we had all of these ideas. And what we did is we just put them on a Google Doc, on a spreadsheet, and we just started testing them one by one. I had my audience, then my partner had a little bit of an audience too. So we just sent emails, to people and just say, hey, would you be interested in testing this out? Here's a Google Doc. Here's what it will do for you. Here's what I have. Here's what I would do for you. Here's what you want to get it right now. Here's how to get it, right? And on each of these cases, we just framed those 5 or 6 ideas for an offer that we had as pre-launches, right? Like beta, pre-launch. This is going to be a closed group, and the ads one won, and by a landslide, right? So we sent the same amount of emails to our list. I posted every day on my social for like 2 weeks or something. And then the one that won, which is where people were like actively like, giving us money for like voting with their wallet, not just voting on an Instagram poll. Like anyone can do that. But if people are voting with their wallet, that means that you're onto something. And then we recorded the course, and then we developed the whole funnel around that front-end offer, right? So if you're going to be dedicating yourself to do something like this, because you're right, Carla, like, each of these are different offers, but once you have the front end, then the rest of the funnel comes along much easier, right? And by the way, if you want this to make this work with cold traffic, what you need to focus on in this is this, like your front end offer is 80% of the whole deal here. Because once people gave you money, let's say they gave you 47 bucks or 17, it doesn't matter, right? They gave you money. It's much easier to get them to give you money again. So even if your upsells are kind of okay, people will take them, right? They already gave you money. So it's much easier to get a second or a third yes than it is to get a front-end buyer to tell you, oh yeah, here's my credit card, take my money, right? So that's why the front-end offer needs to be really good. And then that's why another reason why I have my continuity program, so my continuity offers here as a second upsell, because selling continuity is hard, especially from ads. So people are in yes mode at this point. So there's much easier for them to go into my continuity program. Okay. So that's kind of my approach to this. I do have a framework that I developed after going through this process with, like, I don't know, 15 different offers that I can share with you. I can share with you, Carla, and you can put it in the members area, but it's a process. It does require a little bit of an audience. So it's a good idea to ideally, to initially like build your audience, build your network, and maybe run some ads, create a small list, like maybe 500 people, 1,000 people there, right? Spend some money building a list, and then you can communicate with them. But that's kind of the seed that I like to plant. And I've developed a framework to do this, right? It does require, again, sending emails and posting on social, but this will save you so much time, because it's just like, you need a Google Doc, you need a couple posts, and then you just tell people, okay, do you want it, and go get it. Here's how much it is. And that becomes your front end low ticket offer. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for, because I know that's going to be one of the biggest pitfalls for people in the very, very beginning. It's just not knowing exactly how to go about validating these before they create them. Even frameworks like the Phantom Offer can be used to gauge interest. And I tell people this in Offer Kickstart, that if you get a great response on a Phantom Offer, there's nothing to say that you can't create it. Create it. That could be a great way to build a list, a great way to get into this, right? An acquisition funnel. That could be a really great resource for you. Like, by all means, if you get a great response, go ahead. Like, you've validated an idea here. There's something here.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Cool. All right, so let's jump into the Q&A. I do see some questions on the. And by the way, I'm gonna share that framework with you, Carla. I'm going to send it to you on Slack later so that you can upload it, and then take. I know that some of you guys are asking questions in the chat. I want to make sure that we are answering all of the questions. So please move them to the Q&A section. Okay, so we keep things organized. Okay, if you don't mind. So just type them in again in the Q&A section. You have a Q&A button at the bottom of the screen. Okay, I would appreciate that. Thank you very much. Okay, cool. So let's jump right in. Jariel is asking, how are you defining low ticket versus high ticket? What are the ranges for the prices at each level? That's a great question, Jariel, and I kind of mentioned that, but it really depends on your audience and your niche, right? Because when you're selling to, so for example, I had this client that he had a fitness program for women over 50, okay? So he had this fitness program for women over 50, and the reality is that many of these women that he was, selling his coaching program to were stay-at-home moms or people that were, at home and whatnot. So we couldn't really price it super high, right? Now, I think that he was selling it for $2,000 or something like that for 6 months of coaching or training or something like that. So, which on that point, I would consider that high ticket. I think it was like $2,000 for his niche. It was high ticket. On the other end, we had this other fitness coach that he was selling a fitness program for entrepreneurs, right? And he would work with entrepreneurs, CEOs, executives, and we were able to charge $5,000, $7,500, no problem. Okay, so it really depends on your niche. I like to say that anything above $2,000 or $3,000 is high ticket. On the B2B space, if you're selling to other professionals, so for example, we have another client, he sells to chiropractors, and he has a $15,000 and a $35,000 package, right? But these are doctors, so they can pay for it, right? So the answer to that is it depends, but I like to think that anything above $3,000 is high ticket, so it requires some sort of interaction on the phone, unless you're selling to a really hot audience that you can just send traffic to a sales page and people will buy because they've been following you forever and they know who you are. For most people, selling anything that is $3,000 or up, that's going to require a phone call. Okay, so that's high ticket. Now, low ticket, because you also have mid ticket, right? Mid ticket is $997, $597, under 2,000, or that's like mid ticket, right? And those can be sold out of a webinar, out of a challenge, out of a landing page, right? Now, low ticket, in my opinion, is anything under $100. So anything under $100 is low ticket. Okay, that's how I define it. Some people will say it differently, but that's how I define it. It's low ticket. So if you want to err on the side of caution, if this is going to be your first low ticket entry offer, then I would definitely price it under $97. Okay, but again, it depends on your niche. Okay, it depends on your niche and who you're targeting. Okay, Lido is saying, I have a book for 26 bucks, order bump for $8, 37 mini training. I'm assuming that's your upsell. And instead of high ticket, a $297 course selling, let's see, and a $297 course selling through email. I'm thinking about exchanging the book and upsell to a VSL and sell the course immediately through that. Is that a good strategy based on your experience? What could I do to make the offer structure better? The book is converting well, but the course isn't, and I'm still coming out with a small profit. Was spending $700 a day on ads. Average order value is 45. Okay, so if you are coming out of a small profit, $700 a day on ad, that's pretty good, you know. However, I think that you have room to raise your prices on the funnel itself, right? So you have a book for 26. The order bumps, if the book is 26, the order bumps, you can raise the price of the order bumps to 27 or something like that. Then you have a $37 mini training. I could bump that, you could bump that up to 97 and see what happens, you know? And then that $297 course, I would just slap it in the funnel, you know? Just, you can slap it in the funnel for people to take it right away as part of the funnel, like as the second upsell or maybe even the first upsell. And if people say no to that, then you can sell it on the back end for $397. The reason I'm telling you this is because generally speaking, your upsells should be a deal for people, right? It's like, take it now, because in our website, we're selling it for $500, you get it for $297 here, okay? And then on the back end, you say, hey, you couldn't get it for $297, don't worry, you can still get it for $397 on emails, okay? So that's something that I would recommend. Okay, so also another question, should I have the $297 course as the first upsell? Yes, that's what I would do. That's what I would do. Like because here's the thing, man, 37 bucks, so you have a 26 bucks order, so you have a 26 bucks front end. An order bump for $8 is not doing anything for your funnel, you know? I would bring that mini training to the front as an order bump, and then I would have that $297 as the first upsell. And if you want to have a downsell, you can sell for, you know, 3 payments of 99 or something like that. But an order bump for $8 is not really doing much for you, okay? But here's the thing, you're coming out with a little bit of a small profit right now. Don't touch the funnel as it is, okay? Duplicate this funnel with the new funnel structure and run ads to that, and then compare the average order value of both, okay? I want to be super clear with this. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. What's going to happen is that with your current funnel, you won't be able to scale past $700 a day with this current price structure. You won't be able to, okay? The reason you won't be able to is because as you scale, your cost to acquire customers is going to go up, okay? And if you have a small profit right now, then you're going to eat up your profit as you scale, Okay, so you won't be able to scale past the $700 a day, $700 a day on ads. If you really want to take it to $2,000 a day, you want to start tweaking the offers and whatnot. Okay, so that's something to consider. Okay, let's see. My cost to acquire customers, $7 to $10. That's nice. But wait, if your cost to acquire customer is $7 to $10 and your average order value is 45, dude, you have a lot of meat to the bone. You have a lot of meat to the bone still with your current structure. So you say your average order value is 45 and your cost to acquire customer is 7 to 10. Dude, you have a lot of meat to the bone, you know? So you should be coming with a decent amount of profit out of this funnel, okay? Let's see. Would it be possible to partner up with you? Yeah, DM me. Well, we'll take a look. We'll take a look. But you have a lot of meat to the bone. You know, I wouldn't necessarily like screw up the funnel right now. I would probably just, you know, duplicate the funnel, try this new structure, send traffic there and see what happens. Okay. And see what the cost to acquire customer versus average order value looks like. All right. Okay, cool. Let's see. Zach is asking lead or sales for call bookings. I'm not entirely sure what you mean. If I run ads for call book, if I run ads to my VSL funnel, what do I look at? I look at leads. Like I optimize for leads for a call booking funnel, if that's your question. So when I run ads to a VSL funnel, which is opt-in, VSL with application, calendar, thank you. I run lead ads, like not lead ads, but I run conversion ads with a lead event. Okay, but we optimize based on our cost per call, and then we have Hyros installed so that we can see which of those ad sets are giving us the highest ROAS. So at the beginning, we optimize for leads. Then as we start seeing the calls coming in, we take a look at the cost per call. That's our next metric. That's our North Star metric. And then we take a look at ROAS, okay? But for something like that, you will need to install something like Hyros or something like that so that you can see, okay, this lead came in from this ad and then they end up buying, I don't know, 3 weeks later, okay? Okay, how many unique ads, each with different creative, would you recommend per ad set? So Zach, if you're starting out, if you're launching a campaign, I like to run dynamic ads. So I like to run dynamic ads initially. So, and then in those dynamic ads or dynamic creatives, you can upload 10 different images, 5 different copies, 5 different headlines, and then let Facebook figure things out. Okay, especially as you start. I like to start with dynamic ads, you know? Now, if you want to go after like traditional ads, I would suggest that you do at least 6 different ads, okay? So you would have the same picture. It can be the same picture in all 3, and you would have 3 with different headlines, another 3 with different headlines, or 6 different headlines all in all. But that's why I like dynamic ads, you know, because you have so many variables to test, you know. So that's why I personally like dynamic ads. And then what I do is after I've been running dynamic ads for a while, I'll take a look at the breakdown. And I think that we talked about this like in our past workshop. I take a look at the breakdown, and then I take a look at my best performing ads from those dynamic ads, and then I turn those into traditional ads, if that makes sense. So this will only give you 1 ad per ad set, you know? Okay, cool. Let's see, when you say you run ads to the call funnel, are you saying totally cold traffic, or are you just retargeting viewers of the acquisition funnel? Great question, Zach. When I run ads to a VSL funnel, this is why I say this is a front end, back end funnel. Okay, it's a front end and back end funnel. When I say front end, I mean that I run totally cold ads to that VSL funnel too. Okay, and at the same time, I would run warm traffic to that VSL funnel. And warm traffic could be buyers, could be visitors, could be engagers, could be video viewers and whatnot. But yes, I do run cold traffic to that funnel, to that opt-in page, okay? And that's where I optimize for leads. I optimize for leads, the warm traffic too, but So I hope that makes sense. Yes, call and retargeting traffic to the call funnel. Yes, exactly. Okay, cool. Ramos, sorry, I don't want to butcher it. He's saying, hey, I'm not sure the order of operations. I spent the last 5 months building a niche-based Facebook group that is now 9K members. Nice, man. Congratulations, 9,000 members. I went straight to mid-ticket and now high-ticket offers to monetize. That's awesome. This all feels so far away from where I am, though. How do I start this? Seems like so much to do to get to this level. Thanks. Dude, listen. You started with, like, what you're doing is working, okay? That group, that 9,000 people, it's everything you need, and keep on growing that group and nurture that group. But it's everything you need to test any kind of offer. So you mid ticket, okay? Now you're going to high ticket. That's great. Keep on going to high ticket. Keep on going to high ticket. Then you can launch ads to your high ticket offer. Keep on going high ticket. What I just went through is a process when you start seeing that your cost to acquire customers to your high ticket offer, it's going up, okay? So I would say, don't worry about this now. Don't worry about this right now. Keep on growing the group, keep on nurturing the group, and send them to your mid ticket and send them to your high ticket, because that's where you're gonna make your money. Maybe you would never get to the point that you would need to develop an acquisition funnel. Like, I know that at scale, it becomes basically mandatory to have some sort of acquisition funnel if you really want to scale, but maybe you don't, right? So it's also a business decision. Like, I know a lot of businesses, like, we actually have a couple coaching clients that they are, you know, they're happy where they're at. And we're spending, I think, 30,000, and they make 150K or 120K a month, and they're good. They're good. They don't want to go to 100,000 in ad spend, because they know that it's going to take them more coaches and more calls and more of everything, right? So they don't necessarily want to scale. They're good. You know, we're spending 30, 35K a month, or making 100K, 150K. They're good. You know, we told them, hey, we should develop an acquisition funnel, and we might, but not right now, because they're good, you know? So yeah, but good job, brother. Good job. Good job. Okay, cool. Let's see. Jariel, would any of your advice change for a small business that is local and service-based that wants to get consistent clients and make about 15K a month? I've never run ads for my business before. I am a night nanny for doctors, lawyers, and nurses who recently had a newborn baby and want to sleep well throughout the night. My offer, I charge $40 an hour and typically have 5,000 plus contracts. That's awesome. That's amazing. I think that's the first time that I've heard of something like that. That's the first time, and that's amazing. I love it. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. Here's what I would do. I would create a simple landing page, okay, with a video of you, just because you're selling yourself. I will create a simple landing page with an application. You know, it could even be a VSL funnel, but I don't even think that you need to go that route. So, and then you say, hey, my name is Jariel, and I can help you sleep better at night, okay? And I do this for, you know, for lawyers, for let's see, for lawyers, for doctors, for nurses, whatnot. So you put together a VSL, right? You put together a VSL, and you get people to apply, and then you reach out to them. Keep it super simple, extremely simple, in fact. Extremely simple, in fact. Build a simple landing page with a video and a way to contact you. Send traffic there. Just drop a pin in your area, because I'm assuming that you have an area, right? You can even use Facebook targeting, right? You can even use Facebook targeting, because at the end of the day, there's so many clients that you need in order to make 50K a month, because you charge 40 hours an hour and you have 5,000 plus contracts, you only need 3 clients, right? To pay you 5K a month for your work, right? So you don't need a huge funnel. You don't need a lot of traffic. What you need is a compelling VSL, and you can follow one of Dan's frameworks for that with an application, and then you just send traffic there from Facebook, and and then it could also be a video ad, right? Saying, hey, I'm a nanny, I do this. Like basically, here's what I have, here's what I got, here's what it will do for you, here's what you need it, here's how to get it, right? And just keep it simple. Keep it super, super simple. Keep it super simple. I wouldn't necessarily overcomplicate this because you don't need a lot of volume to make this happen, you know? So that's what I would recommend. That's what I would recommend. So, okay, no worries, my pleasure, my pleasure. Okay, let's see. Sion, or Sion, sorry, I'm butchering names left and right today. I apologize. I have an ad campaign that is running at it's at 8 cents CPC in profile visits campaign. However, when I run the same ad to a funnel, it's $2 to $3 CPC. I have the funnel link in my Instagram bio. Should I just run the profile visits campaign? That's a great question, Sion, and it's totally normal what you're experiencing. And here's why. When you keep people within the Facebook ecosystem or the Meta ecosystem, in this case, you're just running traffic to a profile to your profile, right? You will pay way less. Now, that doesn't necessarily translate in higher ROI. Cost per click does not matter. If you want to do a test, do this. Have 2 campaigns running, one directly to your funnel. By the way, these should be conversion campaigns, not like traffic campaigns, okay? Because if you have an ad that's running to profile visits and it's giving you 8 cents cost per click, that's a traffic campaign. You want to run a conversion campaign to generate leads. I don't know what your funnel link, your funnel is, but you want to do that, okay? And do a test. Have a tracking link in your Instagram bio. Have a tracking link that will tell you, okay, out of all of the people that visited your profile, how many ended up in your funnel? All right, have a tracking link. You can do this with Bitly or something like that. And then run ads directly to your funnel from Meta. You will see that you will get a lot more bang for your buck and a lot more qualified leads and qualified customers running traffic directly to your funnel. And that's normal. Your CPMs will also spike. So if you're paying $10, $15 CPMs on your profile visit ads, it's gonna go to 50, 60 bucks. Don't freak out. Normal, okay? And that's exactly what you want. Because when you keep people within the Facebook platform, you get benefited. When you take people out of the Facebook platform, you get penalized. But here's the kicker. When you're using a conversion campaign, you're using all of that crazy machine learning that Facebook has, and they put it to your disposal. That's why you pay a premium, which is at the end of the day what we want, right? We want a response, we want a lead, we want a buyer, right? We don't want a profile visitor. You don't even want an Instagram follower, you know, because you cannot bring followers to the bank. You want a lead, you want a buyer, right? So that's what you want to do. You want to stop looking at cost per click. Cost per click doesn't matter. CPMs don't matter. I always say this, right? CPMs don't matter. Okay. What matters is that you're getting the response that you want on your ads, because out of all of those profile visits that you got, I would like to know how many of those end up visiting your website, how many of those end up becoming a lead, becoming a customer, buying from you, versus sending traffic directly, which, by the way, you can track. When you're sending traffic to a profile visit, that's where it dies. You cannot track anything else. But if you run a conversion campaign and you have your pixel properly installed, following Dan's instructions, then you will be able to track that. And that's how you track your ROI on the campaigns. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Okay, let's see. All right. Let's see. Kaylee is saying, I am still struggling with tracking. Once I remove all the codes from my new funnels, I have a new funnel, but with the same URL. So struggling with where it's set up improperly. Can I reset my pixel? Does that not affect learning my audience, if that makes sense? I don't know the right terms. Kaylee, do me a favor, okay? It's really hard to troubleshoot if I don't have the screen in front of me to actually tell you where things are going south. So record a Loom video and post it in the community. Okay, record a Loom video for me, post it in the community, and tag me on that video so that I can take a look at what you have going on. Okay, because it's really hard otherwise to actually advise you on what to do. So record a little video, post in the community, tag me, and then I'll jump in. Okay, and then I'll take a look. Hope that helps. Awesome, cool. Let's see, Edgardo. That one I didn't budget. That one I didn't budget. I know. So Edgardo is asking, for a lead gen, why objective do you choose? Do you use lead gen objective or sales objective? If you're running ads, where do you want to run ads to, Edgardo? You have a landing page. What's going on there? If you can tell me a little bit about your funnel and you can tell me a little bit about your sales process, then I'll tell you a little bit more. Okay. So yeah. So tell me what you want to run ads to. Is it a lead magnet? Is it a challenge? What's going on? And then I'll tell you what objective to choose. Okay. Let's see. Zach is saying, can I share my ad copy with you for any sort of feedback? I have it in a Google Doc. Yeah, post it in the chat. I'll take a look. Post it in the chat. Post it in the chat and we'll take a look right now. We could take some copy. That's gonna be fun. Let's see. Dwayne, if I want to work with you, with your company to do your ads, how do I DM you? In the community. Send me a DM in the community and we'll take a look. All right. Do you guys have any other questions? So if you guys can share what I told you. Okay, Edgardo is asking, it will be a page for a free consultation. So you want to use the lead objective, okay? So when you are selecting your goal, selecting your objective in Facebook, you want to select leads, and then on the next page, which is the ad set level, you want to you want to select the web page leads, because you also have the instant form leads, and those are ads when you tap on them, a form will pop up within Facebook. Don't use those. Okay, if you already have a page for a free consultation, select leads, and then on the next page on the ad set level, select your web page, okay, or website, your website leads. That's what you want to do. Okay. Okay, no problem. My pleasure. Okay, let's see. Let's see, Zach. Let's see what you got. For context, I run a matchmaking service. All right, let me share my screen. And we'll take a look at this. All right. Okay, cool. Are you a successful professional struggling to find love in today's fast-paced world? You understand that your time is valuable. You deserve a dating experience that delivers results without hassle. Introducing filter of matchmaking elite. The more my matchmaking service is designed to your needs in mind. Say goodbye to endless, blah, blah, blah. No more awkward first dates. With Matchmaker Elite, you will enjoy a dedicated elite matchmaker. Apply here. Okay, get rid of this. Okay, get rid of the link in the copy, especially if you have any type of tracking in here. Get rid of the copy here, because it's gonna screw up your tracking. Okay, so I don't like links on the body copy for that same reason. Okay. The text stories speak for themselves. Okay. Okay, apply here, same here. Okay, apply, clicking the link below, or apply below, or something like that. Okay. Are you a successful professional kind endless swiping and mismatches on dating app? Okay, have you done did you do this with ChatGPT by chance, or did you write this? It's not bad. Here's what I would like to do, okay? I would like you to run this through Hemingway app. Okay, I'm gonna put it here. Hemingway app. Hemingway, whoops. All right, so Hemingway app is a free app that will allow you to simplify your vocabulary. It will simplify your sentences, right? Because you need to write your ads you need to write your ads like a fourth grader would understand it. Okay, so Hemingway app will help you tone it down. It will help you remove all of like hard words. Okay, and you also want to use shorter, punchier copy. So for example, if you're a successful professional, I like this, you know, how you're calling out your marketplace, but you can make it even punchier. What I always say is that if you can use 3 words to say something, don't use 7, okay? So, are you a successful professional struggling to find love? Question mark. The next thing, let's see. We understand that your time is valuable and you deserve a dating experience that delivers us without hassle. Yeah, like you want shorter, punchier copy. So run your copy through Hemingway app. Okay, this will help you. This will help you. Simplify the whole thing. Okay. Dating landscape. Yeah. So they're kind of the same. So here's what I would do. Okay. Let's see. I'm looking for 5 busy professional singles to help them their soulmate over the next month. You save hours. Yeah. So here's what I do. These are all kind of the same approach or the same focus, right? It's like, are you a professional and you don't have time to swipe right? Here's how we can help. I would also try a story-based ad. So for example, are you a successful professional struggling to find love? Or are you a successful professional and you don't want to waste time on dating apps? Or are you tired of dating apps that only make you waste your time? Or are you tired of dating apps that are not built for professionals, right? So, and then you will segue into a story. I understand that because here's where I was a couple or years ago. Or if you don't have a personal story, you can have a third-party story. I understand because here's how we helped Joseph, a CEO of a Fortune 500 company, find the love of his life, right? And you go into a story-based ad. Because these are all kind of the same, right? These are all kind of the same. You're just writing them differently. So run all of these through Grammarly, through Hemingway app. But also, I would like to see at least one or two story-based ads. Like for example, you can say here, like Josh, right? What do you do for Josh? And that's an ad. Alana, what do you do for Alana? And that's an ad. Okay, Adam, what do you do for him? Okay, so that's what I would do. But other than that, you know, I like how you started this. I would like shorter, punchier copy, because at the end of the day, most of your traffic, and this is for everyone on the call, most of your traffic will come from mobile devices. Okay, so it needs to be easy to read on mobile devices, and shorter, punchier sentences, they're easier to read on mobile devices. Okay, but that's what you want to have in mind. Okay, let's see. Zach is asking, what would be a good front-end low-ticket offer for a coaching program that teaches business to consumer how to actually perform a beauty service, like hair extensions? So for example, it can be so the coaching program teaches B2C how to actually perform a beauty service, right? The front end could be how to launch your beauty service business starting from scratch, you know? Or you can say, what do you need to, so grab your hottest topic within your coaching program and make that your front end, if that makes sense, right? Because if you already have a coaching program, people will pay you for access to you. Okay, people will pay you for additional support. The reason why people pay me or pay Dan, it's because they want our insights to their specific situation, right? So they want our insights to their specific situation that's nuanced enough so that we can help them at their point. So that's why people give you money for a coaching program. So if you think that your front-end low ticket will somehow jeopardize your back-end coaching program, that's not what happens. So you grab your hottest topics in your coaching program and turn those into your front end, you know, turn those into your front end. Because here's the thing, there's 3 levels of value, okay? In business, there's like 3 levels of value, okay? There's the pyramid of value. The bottom of the pyramid is the manual, okay? It's the manual. It's like, here's how to do it, okay? Here's the steps you need to follow. Here are the checklist. Here's the things, right? Go do it. That's the manual. That's the lowest level of value. And that's your front end. Okay, the manual, the processes. Okay, here's how to do it. Here's what you need to do first. Here's what you need to do next, blah, 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 blah. That's the manual. Okay. So generally speaking, if you really want to wow people with your front end low ticket, you want to give them a lot of stuff. Okay. So you can give away the farm and then take back from there. Okay. Now, the next level of value is your coaching program. It's the done with you. We'll do it together. Okay, so the first level of value is the manual. Okay, here's how to do it. The second level of value, which people are willing to pay you a lot more for, is we'll do it together. I hold your hand through the whole process, right? And the top level of value, which is where you can charge top dollar for, is we'll do it for you. Okay, we'll put together your beauty business, we'll launch it, we'll hire the people, we'll source the people, we'll source the material, we'll do this, we'll do that, we'll build the whole thing for you. That is high ticket. That you can charge 50 grand for. Okay. So if you think about it, people will pay for levels. So people that are at this level of value, some people will stay here, but some people will want to go after the next level of value that you have to offer. Okay. So don't be afraid to share on your front end, to share your processes, what you already built. Like, for example, these coaching calls are great front end offers, right? They're great front end offers because they deliver a lot of value and they tell you what to do. But now, if you want us to do it together, then you need to upgrade to the next level of value, which is our coaching program, right? So that's something that you want to do. Is like, don't be afraid to put together a bundle like the ultimate business in a box, beauty business in a box program or something like that, right? So you will get or processes or SOPs, like here's how you do nails, here's how you do eyebrows. I don't know anything about that, by the way, as you can see, right? I don't look like somebody that just came from the salon, right? You can tell that. So I don't know anything about that, but here's how you do eyebrows. Here's how you do this. Here's how you do that, right? And some people will grab that and run with it. But most people won't. And since most people won't, because here's the thing, guys, if anyone that had access to information could be a millionaire, that means that YouTube would make more millionaires than anyone than us. You know, like you can go to YouTube and learn how to do this, right? Why there no more millionaires? Because people lack support. They don't need more information, right? They lack support. And that's where coaching programs come in, and that's why these calls are important and all that. But you know, don't be afraid of giving away the farm. The farm is already out there, you know? So don't be afraid to give away the farm, especially if you want to wow them enough on your front end so that they will buy your back end, okay? And then your back end is not about giving them a lot of additional stuff. It's about giving them the support that they need at the time that they need it, right? It's not giving them all of this stuff. It's like actually giving them less, but giving them the right advice at the right time. Okay, so that's something to consider. It's like at the front end level, it's like, okay, yeah, I understand. Yeah, you get that. Okay, but you still need support to implement all of this, because you know there's a lot of things that you don't know are gonna come up in a coaching call, right? Because you're not in everyone's head. You know what I'm saying? So, anyways, think about it like that. It's like the levels of value, and don't be afraid to to add a lot of value to your front end. Because that will secure that people will buy your apps. So that will secure that people will actually want to buy your backend, if that makes sense. Okay?
Yeah, I remember years ago when people would have this question a lot, like how much is too much, and how much do I hold for my program? And I remember a couple of years ago, Andy Stickle was doing a webinar when he was doing marketing as a service for lawyers. I don't know if he still has that offer, but he was doing that, and I think a lot of it was very SEO heavy. And in his webinar, he would literally just tell them exactly how to do it right in the webinar. And then they would watch halfway through, and then they would be like, oh boy, I'm too busy. Can I just pay you 15, 20, whatever, $1,000 to do it for me? Happily, right? Because they've been won over. So this is the best way to get results for their problem. But it's just too much for them. They're like, no, I see the value. Go ahead. I'm convinced. You don't need to sell me.
Yeah.
It was brilliant. It was so 100%. Brilliant.
100%, 100%. And that's how you want to do it. You know, a lot of people, they're kind of pull their punches when it comes to putting stuff out there. And then, some people will grab what you're saying and figure it out, and that's good. But most people won't. Most people will want your guidance. And that's where you come in. That's where you're done for you, you're done with you, and then you're done for you comes to play, so. Okay, Jariel is asking, since I will be running ads to my local business for the first time, do you have advice on ad budget, campaign budget? So here's what I would suggest, Jariel. The minimum that I would always recommend to start with is anywhere between 50 to 100 bucks a day. So that will end up being probably like $2,000 to $3,000 in a month. However, you don't have to start there. You can start lower because this is your first rodeo, right? Like running ads. My suggestion would be this. My suggestion is that think about having those ads running forever, okay? Think about having ads running forever, because in your particular case, what's going to happen is that you will get booked solid pretty quickly. But since you want to make 15K a month and you're going to be working with 3 to 4 clients, if you lose one of those clients, that's going to be a big hit in your income. So you always want to have a wait list of clients. You always want to have people that are ready to work with you whenever you want it or whenever you need it, okay? So the reason I'm telling you this is because you want to run your ads for a long time consecutively. You want to keep your ads running for a long time, okay? So pick whatever budget makes you comfortable running those ads for a long time, okay? It can be 20 bucks a day, it can be 10 bucks a day, it doesn't matter. Because you always, always, always want to have them running to the same audience, because again, you can only work with so many people, right? You can only work with 3, 4, 5 people, maybe 3, maybe 4. But if one of those fall, you want to have a pipeline of leads ready to go to get going. And when people come in and they say, oh, can you do this? Well, I'm booked solid right now, but I can put you in a wait list. I can put you in a wait list. By the time you reach out to them, maybe they already got someone. It doesn't matter. It's the risk, right? But that's something that you always want to have running. So the question is not how much you should spend, but the question is how much are you feeling comfortable spending for a long period of time? Let's say that your ads start today and they don't ever stop, or they stop at the end of the year, okay? So plan accordingly and make a budget accordingly. I always say this, I would rather you run ads for longer at a lower budget than try to, sprint your way to success and then get burnt out and never open the ads manager again, okay? Because this is a marathon, this is not a sprint. So my question to you would be, okay, how much are you feeling comfortable with spending? Because the reality is that we don't know. I don't know what your city is. I don't know how much your cost per lead is going to be. We don't know, right? So at the beginning, it's better to go that route of just saying, I'm just going to spend what I'm comfortable spending for long periods of time. And because at the end of the day, that also, one of the benefits and one of the differences of running local ads versus nationwide ads or global ads is that you can get positioned in your city pretty quickly. People are going to say, oh, you're from the ads. I saw you on Facebook. I saw you on Instagram. I just saw your ads. I see your ads everywhere. And you don't require a lot of budget to make that happen. But you do require persistence. You do require to show up, and your face to show up, and your face to show up. Because at the end of the day, that's what you're selling. You're selling yourself, right? As an expert, as an entrepreneur, as a local business owner. So yeah, so that's what I would do. All right, cool. Any other questions, guys? I don't see any more questions. Is this helpful? Is this helpful, everyone?
Everybody's on information overload. They're all planning out their funnels now. It's so good.
Awesome. That's great. That's great. Cool. Awesome. Good stuff. So yeah, so any other questions, anything that you guys want to go over? Hope that this was helpful. I'm gonna send you that I'm gonna send you, Carla, that offer testing methodology that I put together, so you can upload it to the members area, and we'll go from there. And by the way, I'm always in the community, okay? So if you have any questions between now and next workshop, you can always tag me. You know, you can ask questions. You can always tag me in the community, in the school community. I'm always there. I'm always roaming around and trying to answer your questions. Sometimes, you know, I get tagged by other members. Hey, can you jump in there? So I appreciate you all for tagging me there. So yeah, you can always tag me, and I'm happy to help. Super happy to help.
Alrighty, great questions as always, guys.
Cool.
Thank you so much, Hernan. Super appreciate you jumping on as always. And yeah, guys, we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
Enjoy Brazil. Enjoy Brazil.
Thank you.
Okay,
I
bye,
will.
guys.